What up, TikTok? Hey, hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hey, don't let anything that's negative in your life dictate the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Hey, we all go through some hard times. We all go through some emotional stressors, maybe at work, maybe at home, whatever it may be. Don't let that dictate who you are and how you react to the rest of the things that life throws at you. Does that make sense? Like if you're feeling pissed off and angry all morning or all day, you're going to take that energy and you're going to present it to everybody else that surrounds you, your loved ones, your soldiers, whoever it may be. You're going to use that negative energy and it's just going to make everything worse. Try to be positive. Pick something positive in life that's going really well. Use that positive energy and let that dictate the rest of your day. We can harp on the negatives. We can harp on the bad things that are going on in life. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help us move forward. Stay strong, keep pushing, drive on. Happy Friday.
What's up, Trash Talkers? Hitting you up this morning with a special promo on how to dress when you are doing PT in civilians, but you want everybody to know you're an Army. This comes from the Buddy Beckwith fashion design of how to work out. So first, you can notice the RI panties. Not Ranger panties, but Ranger instructor panties. The green socks, the knee brace for the old guys. Don't forget the M frames. Now the shirt, don't wear the Trash Talk shirt while you're running. This is just for the promo. You want to put on like an 80-second shirt or like your favorite airborne shirt so everybody knows that you're a veteran. That's the most important thing. And you start with this stretch. Buddy Beckwith taught me this one. Ready to go.
So, I'm walking out of the gas station and my co-worker, who's an old MP, but we still claim him, and has engaged the man in conversation. Not much for conversation with strangers, but he's got the tab. So, as I walk by, I say airborne, and the man responds with, and I quote, "Hoorah." So, after I instructed my co-worker to slash every single tire before he put the car in gear, I looked for the biggest rock. As I crow hop to throw it through his back window so he can stop posing as one of us, I actually wake up and realize that the man's ignorance had incapacitated me for a moment, and I was daydreaming. I mean, because in that moment you got two options. I chose the third option and said, "Incorrect. That's an incorrect response." And I kept walking. The man said nothing and he pulled away. So you tell me, what is it, a stolen valor thing? No Marine's gonna have an airborne tab, and no paratrooper's gonna say hidden hoorah. So you tell me, stolen valor.
Hey, y'all, I'm going to work. I left you a note on the refrigerator. I love y'all. I'm gonna go.
Hey, go get dressed. Get ready for school.
You're doing great. We're just tooling around, tooling along. Shit! Bad guy! Stop!
Let me break it down Barney style.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, Joe, and Buddy. Today's special guests are two Army Rangers who were jealous of Navy SEALs, so they wrote a book.
Today's show is brought to you by the Farkas Group at the Veterans Mortgage Source. Are you looking for a team you can trust for your mortgage needs? The Farkas Group is our trusted partner on the podcast. I serve with Zach, and he will definitely give you the best rate possible. Their goal is to educate veterans across the country on their earned VA home loan benefit. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, reach out to these guys for competitive rates or any information you may need on obtaining a VA mortgage for your property. They are licensed in multiple states. If they are not licensed in the state that you live in, they will still give you the advice that you need and the rates you should be looking for.
I don't know. Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome to episode 60 of the Trash Talk Hour. Shout out to our sponsors, Zach Farkas with the Veterans Mortgage Source. Make sure you hit him up at zach.farkas@bmsloans.com, all right, for any VA needs. Also, 10th Mountain Whiskey. Make sure you check them out at 10thmountain.com, all right? Type in VTT, get yourself a discount. And last but not least, Kyle Early with Barrage Coffee. You can find them at barragecoffee.com. They got some amazing coffee.
Wait,
check them out. What?
A veteran that sells coffee?
Yeah, veteran that sells coffee. They all do it, right?
Nailed
His
it.
coffee is good. He's got like some CBD infused stuff. Yeah, they sell shirts too.
Sell shirts?
Yep. Yeah, all kinds of shit.
Nailed
and then
it. No,
our
his coffee
special
is really
guests
good.
today are Dan and Bo from United Valor and returning guest JC. And as always, I'm joined by Nick, Buddy, and Joe. I read the script today. Over to you, Joe.
Oh, fantastic. These noon shows kind of kick ass because I'm supremely caffeinated and I just can't find an excuse.
It's 9 o'clock here and I should not be drinking yet.
You're still drunk, so party boy. Dave likes to get European and weird on Friday nights. We don't ask any questions and we don't judge him. But okay, soapbox time. All right, Nick always says what gets you triggered, and I think we all know I get triggered. All right,
a lot.
So here's one. I don't want to hear any more people bitching about how much paper and how many trees we kill to waste paper until we martial law force CVS to stop fucking printing receipts. I don't need a 5-foot bride's gown of a receipt hanging out of my pocket for a pack of fucking Wrigley. Okay, I may have glanced at the hemorrhoid coupon that was attached. That's neither here nor there. Mind your business. But the Clinique makeup removers, I don't fucking need those, and I don't need a 1-foot coupon to explain the discount to me. All right, that's it. I got triggered about that. Next topic. All right, this is a little bit serious. I talked to our boy Kevin Travers. He likes to keep in touch with the masshole vets. All right, great group of people. Love the nickname. You know, they know who they are. And they ain't changing for anybody. But they were talking about the Afghan exit, all right? And it got serious.
We're out of here.
And Kevin was talking to one of the guys who said, hey, man, look, I watched the fucking Taliban walk down that street. My buddy died there. He said, died on that street. And it makes, and it begs the one question, why? Everybody's fought with that. Everybody's thought of it. And when we were on our deployment together, when Dave, Nick, and I got our enemy marksmanship badges, within about 3 weeks, the mission was clear to us, which is don't die. Nothing over here is going to be a sustainable change once we leave, nor are they participating in this sustainable change. So the mission is don't die. But I say it all the time, and this is a textbook example of do what you're going to do for the right reasons. All right. Because if you have a pre-programmed result or a pre-programmed expectation of recognition, you are going to be disappointed. And when you do something like what we did, okay, I'm going to bring up a story that very few people know about. We talked about it on like our 3rd episode with our boy Preston Paris. We were engaged one day. I'll make it short. We were engaged one day. Preston couldn't find the guy shooting at him. He got hit in the neck. Dave and I were in the back seat. Preston dropped into Dave's lap, and I looked at Dave for what felt like a quarter century. It was like time froze. He looked at me, I looked at him, and he looked at me like, hey, man, I'm sorry you got to go up there because that fucking turret is getting drilled. And it was. And it took like 8 years before we ever talked about that day again. And I'm not here to toot my own horn, okay? But when my team leader, who is sitting up there in the corner of the screen at the time, Dave, tells me, hey, man, that was a textbook gunner drill. He hit my lap and you were in the gun in a matter of a couple seconds. I didn't know that. I swear to God, in my heart, it felt like I froze.
I blacked out. What happened?
Yeah, right. It was like, yeah, Will Ferrell debating on Old School. But when Dave told me that 8 years later, that meant the fucking world to me. My team leader who set the fucking, we talk a lot of shit, but Dave was squared away. He had to smoke my ass plenty of times because I was a horrible garrison soldier. But in that moment, when the chips were down and we were playing for the ultimate stakes, I'm proud of what I did. And because I said that, officially 10 times more people know about it right now because I've never brought it up again. Because that's not why we did what we did. And for these veterans who are leaving Afghanistan, dude, take care of yourself because this one's going to fucking sting for a little bit. You're going to want it back. You're going to feel like there was things that happened for no reason. We are all we have. Come fucking find us. We understand what you're going through. We understand what's going on. It fucking hurts. You want to know why? I asked myself why. Are these 10 names tattooed on my back? We lost 10. And we were right there up close and personal for almost all of it. So when you come home, man, just know, just right off the bat, right off that you're not going to get any recognition, and any recognition is a welcome surprise. Stay close to your brothers. Know that you did what you did so somebody else's son didn't have to take that role. And if for nothing else, you got that much to lean on. All right, but do what you do for the right reasons. And somebody, for the love of God, take CVS's ability to print paper away. I'll save the Amazon rainforest. That's it. I'm triggered, buddy.
That was good, Joe. That was good. That was almost
phenomenal,
like one of your
Joe.
haikus. That was good.
Was it a haiku? Did I go into haiku
No,
status?
you almost got
100%.
there. You almost got there.
That was
You
awesome.
did
I'll have
talk
to
about nature. You did talk
I'll have
about
to
nature.
rewatch it because it felt like I was watching myself from a corner in the room floating. So, all right, buddy.
Hey, whatever
What you
works,
got?
man. Whatever works.
I saw you levitating from our end.
Yeah, like that was.
I've been called the songbird of my generation by those who heard me sing.
That was good, buddy. It's your turn.
Buddy, get it, buddy.
It's
Get
my
it.
turn. Hey,
Did you want us
We
to
need
be
to really
patient
start
with
talking.
you to start your segment, or do you want us to be patient while you're talking about
no. You got to be patient the whole time. First
Okay.
of all, I think that we should have a meeting before these shows and figure out like who's going to be serious and who's going to be not serious. Because I always fuck up and follow Joe when he has like a serious one. Either
It's
that
a
or
dumpster
you
fire.
gotta
And
talk
buddy,
about the
guess what?
Taliban before and then talk about the CBS. So there's what we refer to in the biz as a segue, dick face. Because we're like,
Yeah, we opened the room a half hour early. Maybe you should have showed up.
Hey,
Whoa.
necessary
Whoa.
roughness quote
You
coming.
guys said
Hey, you know what you can do
12.
with your fucking rules, buddy? I'm sorry.
yeah, well, you
I'm
guys
sorry.
said 12 EST. I thought that was like estimated sometimes or something. Like I wasn't. You're lucky I'm here right now. All right.
Hey,
Now,
I count my blessings every time I see your face, buddy. I'm
yeah,
like,
well, here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my honesty cap, and my honesty cap is a little serious too. All right. Also, we're going to go on a little journey. So I'm going to need you to calm down for this analogy that we're going to go through because it's going to be a minute before we get there. Is
no
everybody
promises. No
Everybody,
promises.
did you pee already? If you peed already, then I'll turn this fucking car around. I don't even care. Anywho, so here I was. I'm sitting here, and I'm watching a little bit of the YouTube. I don't know if you've known about it. It's a thing you get on. It's on your phone. No big deal. I'm pretty technologically advanced, so I wouldn't think that any of you fucking schlubs would have watched it before. It's my tube. It's YouTube. It's for me. It's just me.
That's
Anywho,
mine.
so watching YouTube and an advertisement comes on, and it's this guy. Now, I'm just some simple fella from Alabama. I don't really understand a whole lot, but this dude is taking what we refer to in Alabama, Roll Tide, as some damn salve, and he's like rubbing salve on his face, and then he takes this granite or marble rolling pin deal and like rubs it on with some kind of beauty cream deal. The only thing I could think is like it looks like the rolling pin that my mom uses when she's making biscuits when company's coming over. The good biscuits. The ones that you're like, damn, Mom, why can't you make these on Tuesday? She's like, because that's not when the folks are coming. It's like the good shit. Anywho, so they're rubbing that shit in, and it made me think, dudes these days, here's the analogy. We're raising brand new pickup trucks of dudes. We're raising the Dodge freaking T-Rex of dudes at this point. They're like $100,000 truck. They look good. They got all this sweet technology. Their faces are all gymmed up. Their beards are trimmed and nice looking. And they use like cream and cold compacts and cucumbers on their fucking eyes. But you can't take them out to the woods and do anything that a goddamn truck is supposed to do because you don't want to fucking break it or scratch it or do anything with it. They were so busy doing Abercrombie workouts and fucking putting cold compresses on that we don't even go out and like lift hay and throw it in the back of a fucking truck. Why can't we just get some 99 Ford fucking 7.3 diesels and go out and do dude shit? Instead, we're fucking sitting around fucking acting like
what is going on?
Back in the olden days,
He said
we
be
referred
patient.
to as women. Why are we putting fucking wrinkle cream on? Wrinkle cream. You're supposed to get old. You look better when you're old. That's why all of these women on Tinder, not a huge deal, are looking for like dudes. They want dudes.
They want dad bods.
Yeah, because a dad bod will be able to can pick shit up, but then we'll go get a hamburger with you. But these dudes are driving their brand new pickup truck that's never been off the road with their fucking 8-foot jacked up bullshit out to like fucking go get some damn cold cream for their fucking cat eye or whatever the fuck you call it.
Buddy, how do you feel when the tail's lower? And
I don't think Buddy took his medication today.
With the what?
How do you feel when the ass end of the truck looks like it shit its pants and it's lower than
Oh
the
my
top?
God! You talking about the dirty diaper truck? We already talked about
squatted.
this.
Yeah, I have feelings about those.
Diaper? Yeah, it looks fucking stupid. And guess who's driving that truck? The dickhead that won't even take it off of the road. It just stays on the pavement. It's got
but he's got frosted
33-inch
tips.
mud gripper tires on it. Won't go anywhere because it doesn't go off the pavement. All I'm saying is stop fucking. Why do you want to have a pretty funeral? Like, you should be sliding into your casket so that when you get to the fucking gates of whatever hell or heaven or what fucking non-fucking theologically fucking specific God you're going to looks at you and goes, Jesus fucking Christ, you come on in because it's going to be fun. Like,
Yeah,
instead,
you lived.
we're
You
fucking,
lived. Yeah.
we're fucking trying to get there with no wrinkles. So they go, you got like 100 years left. What are you doing? Anyway, that's my honesty, Cap. That's what triggered me this week is fucking rolling pins on the face for dudes.
And
Somebody get
posing-
Buddy his meds. Somebody get Buddy his meds.
and people posing as trucks when they're not.
You drinking cordial already, buddy?
No, he's off his
You're
meds.
muted.
Not only do I am
The
I
gentleman
drinking
never
cordial,
tells.
but I've
Oh.
also taken my cordial out of the bottle and put it in my sweet scumbags decanter.
Look
Ooh, I
how
like
fancy
that.
you are. You got a decanter, huh?
You take that thing to soccer practice.
Yeah.
Hey, look, guys, I moved to the city and I live in a condo now, so I gotta get decanters and apparently fucking rolling pins.
And you on
Just-
YouTube
just-
now. You on
Just
the
remember,
YouTube now.
everybody watching. All right, if you can't handle a good bourbon or a good scotch because you just have like a girly palate, all right, 10th Mountain has cordial and it's delicious. So go on
First
there
of all,
and put in.
I
put
thought
in-
you were gonna
I
say.
thought-
I thought you were gonna say lose my number, but
my
yeah,
bad, Dick. I
potential
thought you were
thing
going
too.
a different way with that.
I don't
thought you were
judge
about
people
to
for
say
drinking cordial.
shit.
Like, you know, Buddy's got all the cool badges. He's a really trained warrior and he likes cordial. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Now, most
You know,
people
so-
that are
so-
starting out with whiskey, they're
Hey,
drinking the
say
peanut
what
butter
you
whiskey.
say what you
Yeah,
want
exactly.
about cordial. That's gonna sneak up on you.
They're drinking
It'll
that sweet
sneak up.
shit.
Cordial is like
Buddy,
you
explain
remember when you
explain
went
what
to,
cordial is to these gentlemen. Tell them what it's infused with.
It's sage and vanilla peach infused bourbon. Not a huge deal. Delightful. It's delightful.
Does it come with
Again,
cucumbers for your eyes?
they should call it dragon.
Yeah,
Fruit.
cucumbers for your eyes and beauty
It does.
cream. Yeah,
It does.
comes-
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah, but
Buddy, did you
but
feel that Superman punch through your logic right there?
what? I didn't. I couldn't
Over there
hear you.
drinking cordial, talking about real men.
Whoa. Real men like shit that tastes good. Not a huge deal, but did you know that cocktails were invented by fucking cowboys, boys? Yeah, water tasted like shit back in the 1700s, so they put sugar and bullshit in it with whiskey so that it fucking tasted good and
Right.
it wouldn't give them diarrhea. Fuck
Right,
it.
buddy. They
Boom.
brewed it. Yeah.
Learn your history, boys. Learn your damn history.
Most
All right.
cowboys I know just drink out of the water trough because it's got minerals in it.
Yep.
Touche.
Helps your body
Cowboy, they
process
know
heat because it's got
Shouldn't you be
bacteria in
fucking
the water.
fixing a transferter or something?
That's
A transferter now.
a transferter engine.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, we also have JC on the show. We're a big fan of him, and so once in a while we call him in here to, do his TED Talker stuff. So JC, the best-selling author, and he tells you he's the Dr. Phil for veterans. So welcome back to the show. And I like what you're sporting with the shirt. That's our soup sandwich shirt. So make sure you go check that out.
JC's rocking that George Washington, looking like a freaking Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Everybody else needs to get one.
Yeah, he's looking good. I maybe take the dad bod back a little bit, but he's not standing up. Notice that nothing below the chest. So it's good. But welcome to the show, JC.
Thanks, brother. Hey, all right. Wow, I don't know how to even follow that because
it's the segue thing. We just don't do them.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Just do it.
There was a lot there, but I got to say that obviously Joe and I were on the same sheet of music today because I was thinking. So Dan and Bo, who I'm going to introduce here in a second, Dan and Bo, we have another friend who's a guy named Tom Amenta, who was just in the Washington Post article about us coming out of Afghanistan. And I love Tom. I served with Tom for a long time. And we were overseas a bunch together. And I feel bad for him because he's really angry and upset about this. And I think a lot of veterans are angry and upset because, and I have heard exactly the same thing, Joe, right? This idea of everything we did, what's it for? Why did that person die? They died for nothing. Why? And you know, I know that I'm a little overly optimistic, or I try to be a little overly positive, but I think you have to, because I think right now the world's kind of jacked up, and I think you got to hunt the good. You got to find the good where you can find it. And what I realized is, so we've talked about this. Like, I'm a word dude, right? I want to know what the root of a word is. Where did it come from? Much like I had no idea that cowboys invented cocktails. I'm going to hold on to that.
Yeah,
that's a Southern education. He's from Alabama. It's 48th in the country, so you gotta verify.
Well, North Carolina also thinks they invented pulled pork, but you know,
so
I digress.
So I
dare you, look on A&E. You'll find out Cowboys invented cocktails, boys. Mimosas, Wild Earp, Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp drank mimosas. Yep.
Get them fired up.
So I looked up what's a legacy. Right? What's a legacy? And a legacy actually is a person. It comes from medieval Latin, legate, which is it defines a person. And I realized that you can't look as a veteran. You can't look at what's going on in Afghanistan as your legacy. Your legacy is two things: the people that you were there with, who you continue to celebrate, whether they are with us still or not. And what you did in those moments when you absolutely had to do the right thing. That's your legacy, and that doesn't disappear. That country will do whatever it does, and it'll rotate through whatever it's going to rotate. Now the Chinese are dealing with the Taliban, if you just saw that.
They've been at war forever.
It's the Russians, it's the Americans, it's the Chinese. They're going to keep, unfortunately, getting treated horribly, because I think that had we stayed there, we probably could have helped generations of people. I feel bad for the 2 generations of women who are absolutely going to be killed. I mean, if I am most mad about anything, and if feminists were most mad about anything, they should be freaking out about how women are going to be treated, killed.
Yeah, you won't hear that on the news.
No.
Well,
children turned into soldiers. Yeah.
I'm not trying to kick that hornet's nest, but feminism doesn't mean what it used to.
Well, I mean,
and I'm not being a smartass. I'm being dead serious. The average feminist is not the same as they were in 1980.
Yeah.
But I think of the things that we did, and I'm really proud of the things that we did. I mean, you know, for guys like Dan and I, you know, we were up fighting the Haqqani network, and we wiped them out. And unfortunately, we had to wipe them out twice. And that's not going to stop. That is our legacy, right? And our legacy is the relationship that we have now, and the legacy that continues to grow with guys like Bo, who you know, serve in other ways. And the legacy is my relationship with you guys and every other veteran I meet. So we can't allow what a bunch of politicians are doing because it helps their numbers, it helps their poll numbers. I don't care. Right? What we did matters. It will continue to matter. The relationships that are our legacy, the people that are with us and no longer with us, and those great actions that we did they're not wiped away just because the Taliban comes back. They'll live forever. And we need to remember that, because if we don't, we're going to be depressed and we're going to be frustrated, and we give the power to these politicians and other people who are making decisions for their own gain. Screw that. I'm not giving that power to them. I'm going to keep the power. We're going to keep the power. We're going to continue to grow this network. And you know what? Because of what we've done, our legacy we should look forward. What's our future legacy going to be? How are we going to turn this country around and go away from kind of maybe softer individuals, people who lack resiliency? See, that's another way of saying guys who put stuff on their face. I'm just trying to be nice now. But
JC,
but that's what
you're getting a lot of reactions on Gruntworks because, like I said, you are the Dr. Phil of the veterans, so they are eating this up right now.
JC, that's so perfectly stated. And if I may caveat off of it, and then I'll give the mic back to you. You're dead on. We're right on the same page, and in everything that you preach, it all correlates with what we preach. It's fighting towards the same end game.
Spell correlate.
We don't have, what's that?
Spell correlate.
CORRALATE. JC, what is it?
No, there was a bell. A bell went off. That means you got to
go. You wrote a book, damn it! No,
you got to go get shamed by your father now.
But what you're saying is the legacy's not dead. It's still going. And don't worry about what the rest of the world thinks. Build what we've got here, and keep building it, because we're all we've got. Come to this community and you can live in that moment for the rest of your life if you want to, and be proud of it because your brothers understand. Don't expect everybody else to understand, because they're not gonna right away. But thanks, JC. That was stated perfectly. I'll give you the mic back.
Can I get one? Can I get one real quick?
No.
But on a
put your
serious
mic back
note,
on mute.
Take one more sip of that cordial before you do that, buddy.
Yeah.
And then you can get one.
So here's the thing. A few years ago, we were having this exact same conversation when people were honking horns and pulling out of Iraq, right? Everybody's like, oh, we did all that for nothing. Well, guess what? We're still, I don't know if you guys have looked at where the U.S. forces are these days. They're still in Iraq. Let's just pump our brakes and wait for a minute and see how this plays out. Have a little bit of what they refer to as tactical patience, because, it is what it is. We're pulling out of the, and the Taliban has taken over, but that makes it real easy to drop some bombs. Just saying. Because
right. I was part of an operation where the president said one thing. I'm not going to say which president, because I don't think we can still talk about this operation, but it's like, and then all of a sudden we were doing exactly the opposite. And so it was like, just chill a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's that. And then there's, it pains me a little bit to hear people like veterans talk about that their friends died in vain, that what they did was in vain, because, we talked about it a couple shows ago, and, the whole war thing, it's a business, right? So, if you look at it and you take it personally, you might need to evaluate your mindset for war, that the actual act of going to war is not personal, right? What you do there the entire time you're there is personal only because you're doing it with your people. You're doing it with your boys. Not a fucking thing I did in Iraq or any of the other countries that I've gone to is ever going to be in vain, because I was there doing it for the guys that I was there with. I didn't do a damn thing for mom, apple pie, and America while I was there. Yeah. They didn't. I mean, you can give all the thanks to all the veterans that apparently went there with way more higher ideals than I went to. But I went there because I joined the Army and they fucking told me to. And all my best friends were there. And I wasn't going to let them down. Absolutely. Amen. Nobody can take that away from you if that's your outlook. Like, nothing I did was in vain, because I was doing it with my boys and we didn't do anything illegal or immoral while we were there. And as many that could came back because we were there for each other. I was not there for the democracy that we wanted to install in Iraq. I was there because Sammy was there. I was there because Vito was there. I was there because
Ooh, an old
Mike
Vito
Beard
drop.
was there.
Old
You know
Vito,
what I mean?
old Vito rally drop. Nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see him in a couple weeks.
Nice.
But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it sucks.
But you prove that point right there, buddy, by saying I'll see him in a couple of weeks. You're doing exactly what we're preaching: is keep yourself around your brothers, man, and shit won't seem so fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, this might actually be a good segue. I think we set JC up to introduce our guest. I think we did it.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Because what they've done, and they know I'm like one of their biggest cheerleaders. What they've done is they've solidified a memory of our legacy that will live on forever. Okay, we're talking about our brothers and sisters immortalized in these pictures, and Bo is like freaking amazing. And these incredible pictures of sure some famous people that everybody knows, right? Everybody knows the Tim Kennedys and the Nate Boyers. But I'm talking about the guys like the Steve Forties, right? Who's the chief wellness officer for the best orthopedic hospital in the world, right? For the Tanya Oxendines, who was a sergeant major in the 82nd and now works in the nonprofit world, right? People who absolutely served as professionals and built their own legacy are now immortalized in what Dan, Tom, and Bo have done, and it's amazing. So I'm excited to introduce them and let them talk about their new book, The 20-Year War, which is coming out on the 11th of September, on the anniversary of the initiation of this war. And thank you for Nick. Thanks for letting me introduce them. They've become very, very good friends, and the more we can share what they're doing. Though I think they're getting some good sharing right now.
So absolutely.
They are. And before they start talking, they need to tell us why we had to come on so early today. What the reason is for their follow-up
why we had
interview.
to get up so early.
Yeah.
So
before you guys go on that, let us know.
Who are we playing second fiddle to today?
I'm sure a lot of the listeners are going to love this, but we got a request to be on CNN to specifically talk about the withdrawal from Afghanistan. So. It's gonna be.
Hey, that's what's up, though. That's what's up.
That
man.
hurts. I thought it was.
Yeah, I know. No, it'll be excellent.
After that honesty cap I did, you're probably canceled on CNN just because you didn't immediately log off. So
we're gonna be canceled from CNN because we were already on Fox and Friends.
I was just thinking that I expect to be quoted in the CNN piece. So.
Hey, you should mention VTT. You had an exhausting show on VTT today.
Yeah. We're not about glory or fame, but hey, say our name once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can give my 2 cents to this, because I think this is the hot topic that's out in the world right now. But
it's your floor.
I think the important thing, and to kind of segue into the book and why we did the book, was this was a war that we all volunteered for. We all decided to join the military and fight in this war, whether you agree or disagree with the policies that were behind it. Everybody who fought in the war agreed to it. You could have easily walked off post and quit at any point in time. So every veteran decided to stay, decided whatever their reasoning was, that was, what it was for them to stay and to fight and to support the troops, whoever was fighting out in the field. But to your guys' point is, it shouldn't be a question of why did we do it? Like, was this for nothing? Was it for not? It should be more of, what did I learned from it? What did I gain from it? What can I tell people about? What can I share with my community, with my family members, with my brothers, with, whoever it is, the people in my businesses? And to your point, yeah, absolutely. We got to keep, our brothers and sisters close, and we want to stay connected to them. But there's also that gap. There's a significant gap between the veterans that have served in the last 20 years and the civilians who have not, or the veterans that did not either, that served prior to the previous 20 years. And those are the stories and the things that you have to tell people. You have to tell the public. You have to get out there. Your story at the very beginning with you and Joe, with you and Dave, and the one that you didn't want to talk about, and it's the first time you've shared, like, those are the stories that we're hearing now that should have been shared, that should continue to be shared, that should not be forgotten. There's so much history and so much knowledge and experience and leadership and teamwork and grit. Everything that you've learned from combat carries with you into the future. And it's something that, you know, we're excited to share in these stories in our book, The 20-Year War.
What was it that, I mean, obviously I'll ask the generic question, but what was it where you pulled the trigger and said, we gotta put this on paper and we gotta make this a book?
I'll answer from my perspective. First of all, for the listeners there, I'm a civilian. I shouldn't even be on this platform with these guys.
You're a Boy Scout,
and
so you're kind of like better than the Air Force. You did Boy Scouts, so you're kind of like better than the Air Force, right?
Dave with the rim shot.
First of all, I gotta say I'm extremely honored to be here to talk to you guys. I personally am a photographer, so when I was traveling across the U.S., I was already working on a project with a veteran nonprofit called Heroes and Horses, and I do a little bit of ranching and horse work myself. So that went hand in hand of me taking photos of veterans and then producing artworks. I moved my life to North Carolina from California. I got out of that crazy state of what was going on during COVID. And I basically told Dan that I want to work on a project and give to other veteran organizations. And with him being in special operations, I asked him what he recommended. And I think that was kind of the starting point of when Dan wanted to enter the veteran space again and figure out how he could help veterans. And so we came together and focused on creating the 20-Year War.
Well, I will say what happened was 2020 for everybody was kind of a fucked up year of reflection. Like you got stuck to your own thoughts and you weren't really engaging with a lot of people. So I had a very hard transition where like I got out of the military and I was like, all right, I'm done. That's it. Closing that book, pushing it off to the side. It's no more. It's not part of me. And I think that's where, you know, I started thinking in 2020, like, why did I do that? Why did I push all that to the side?
How'd that mentality work out for you? Did you come to a point where you knew it couldn't be that way anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. And I said, you know, I'm starting to reconnect with people and I'm starting to engage with people that I haven't talked to in years and almost a decade. And I felt like I needed to do something to make sure that people weren't going through the same harsh or like stark transition that I was. So I was trying to think of all different ways to give back and to do something. And so when Bo, you know, me and him are childhood best friends. We've known each other since we were 5 years. He was 5 years old. I was 6. When he came to me and said, yeah, I just got done doing this, you know, awesome photography work. I was like, you know, this next year is going to mark the 20th anniversary of 9/11 and our start in the global war on terrorism. I was like, and I know there's plenty of veterans out there that are just like me that haven't shared their story, that, you know, don't want to talk to people, whatever the case may be. And I feel like we've got to get these stories out here. There's too much history here. There's too much that needs to come, not from the, you know, the big heads that are, you know, working in colleges and universities and things like that will write whatever they want to on paper because they're looking at it from an analytic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to come from the people who are actually on the ground. And they're the ones who need to define the history. And so that's what I told him. I said, you know, I know you want to work on a project, especially in the veteran space. Let's tell these stories. Let's engage with veterans and awesome. let's get it on paper, and let's not just focus on the combat side of it because that's often too often told. Let's focus on, you know, that transition. What are they doing now? Well, how are they engaging with the community? What businesses have they started up? You know, what life lessons and mantras can they share with their greater community?
I always call that the second war. You know,
yeah,
because that's when the battle within starts, you know, so
you know,
that's phenomenal.
By the way, just so you know, when Dave says he always called it the second war, he just thought of that 2 seconds ago. So
yeah, but if I could comment, and Nick, I think Nick will agree with me on this one, that everything, the way you laid that out is the exact same reason we started this podcast. You know, Nick and I had an idea of it for 6 months, maybe a year. And during COVID, I remember it was, my wife was pregnant. It was April 14th, I want to say. Nick hit me up and he said, look, man, I can't get in to talk to anybody. You know, they're canceling everything. Let's start this thing now. And let's make it 100% around the veteran community, because that's what we were struggling with, is that, and we both came to the realization that's our only fucking angle here. And that's the only thing that we've done that's a significantly interesting part of our life that you can't recreate that. And just like you said, this message needs to get out there. You want to make it mean something, then educate the public on it. And that's another thing we talk about. Educate the public on it before you judge the public's opinion.
Yeah.
Because who else is going to fucking tell them?
And personally, as a civilian like myself, to kind of comment on what you guys' topics were. I obviously don't know the veteran space. I don't know what it's like to be in combat, nor will I ever. So I can't put myself in those shoes. But the one thing I think I've noticed with photographing the 71 veterans that are in our book is, like you said, there's been a few individuals that I've met where I could tell that they were going through a rough time, that they were hesitant of sharing their story with me, especially a guy like me that's a civilian. And it really kind of broke my heart to see another individual that doesn't have maybe that platform or those people anymore around to talk to. Maybe they've lost touch. And I remember, like, I think maybe the second or third veteran that I interviewed, I called up Dan crying on the side of the road because I was like, dude, I don't know what this is like, but I can't quit. I can't stop now. So you got to do whatever you can to shake me if I ever get hesitant on like stopping this book, because I'm going to put my all into it on photographing and interviewing these stories of these men and women that have served. And I really want to give them true, time and honor into each of them, because they're so unique, each one. And that was another mindset that I had going into it. Was I bet all these stories are going to be somewhat similar, and not one was. Out of the 71, I traveled 42 states, over 16,000 miles in 2.5 months, drove across the country 4 times, and not one story was alike. And it kind of chokes me up a little bit right now to talk about it, but I'm just happy to be on the show to talk to you guys. And obviously we share the same message.
Yeah, I wanted to say how you, when you started off, when you're talking about how you don't feel like you belong on the podcast, and our best-selling shirt is the "Don't be a triggered pansy," right? And people like they want to put their spin on it, but it's like it don't matter what side you're on. Like everybody gets triggered. It's like, do you become a pansy or are you an adult about it? Like which one's it going to be? Yeah. And we get a lot of veterans. Veterans are some of the most triggered people, period. So it's like you get them on there like, why the fuck are there civilians on here? And it's like, I don't know, maybe because the largest group of veterans killing themselves is Vietnam veterans, because people forgot about them, right? They're in your neighborhood. All right. Their buddies are all dead. Okay. And maybe if you just learn a little bit, and it might help that guy. And if it doesn't help, we still tried. And it's like, and if it helps one person, go to their neighbor and be like, hey, I've been watching this veteran trash talk show, or I just read the 20-year war. Just that conversation starter just maybe saves that guy's life, that girl's life.
Yeah. And I would say even with, one of JC's biggest topics that's always stuck with me since we met with him, and obviously JC's featured in the book. And for people listening, this is a big photo book. It's a coffee table book. It's over 200 pages. It's a massive book. And I remember JC was listing the 4 pillars of transition. And one of those pillars was find yourself a mentor, but a civilian mentor. And it was kind of interesting to hear that, because it makes sense that veterans, when they're transitioning back into the civilian sector, they're not used to that anymore. So they almost need to find a civilian that can help them through it. It's almost like, if I want to know anything about protecting myself or about leadership or anything like that, I'm going to go to veterans, because I know that they understand that aspect much more. So that's kind of one thing, I guess, personally, that I want to be. I'm nowhere close to a mentor to anybody, but if I can help veterans, want to learn art or photography or creating a book or business or whatever, I want to be here to help teach them and get their foot in the door as much as I can.
Yeah, that's not true that you're not a mentor to anybody. I said, that's why you always carry yourself. And somebody who's trying to invest in other people, right, wants to make sure that they're bringing their A game, because you never know who you're going to help.
Yeah.
Right. And you never know by your pictures that you take that you might inspire 20 veterans to take up photography as a hobby.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're 100. When you start doing stuff to build others up, you're 100% a mentor. So it's like, you got to start giving yourself a little bit more credit. That's we started this, and people still don't grasp it, that we don't charge anybody to come on here. Right. We come up and blow your, whatever we can do for you. Right. Because it's going to help somebody.
Yeah.
And obviously nobody wants to get cocky and, arrogant, but it's, why not be proud of trying to help other people? So it's like, and then surround yourself with the right people that build others up. So again, except for the Tim Kennedy, because he's still ducking us. We had Yako.
Yeah, Nick says Tim Kennedy keeps missing weight every time they sign a fight, and Tim Kennedy will not fight him.
Right. So, and that's why
Nick's got his
afraid of
number or
me.
something.
Like I said, we almost got to him. We got Yako Kalili on, but like now we're working there. So tell him to stop ducking us. Like I'll take him on. Like I'm not scared. He's got to make weight though.
To jump on what they just said to
the words caveat.
I don't want to use it.
So behoove you to listen.
Shut the fuck up.
You're a master sergeant. You use that word.
So
dummy.
To jump on what they just said, though, veterans have a problem with being a lot like the stereotype of like the wife, right? That doesn't want to explain what's wrong, but wants you to understand what's wrong. Like
that makes sense.
You don't get to have both sides. Like you can't have an exclusive group and then have everyone outside of that group understand the inner workings of that group to be able to help you if that's who you need to give you a hand. So to exclude civilians from having a conversation with veterans because you're too cool because you're veterans and you've been to combat, it's kind of a self-defeating legacy, if you will, of that's never going to help anybody. So I mean, it makes more sense to have civilians on if that's what you want, to be able to understand you and to be able to be accepted by at some point in your life.
Yeah, hey Dan, tell us your favorite part of the journey with this book. What was like in the book, people you met, maybe just reconnection. What was your favorite part of this journey?
I think my favorite part was definitely that reconnection, but I think it was realizing what I had forgotten. And just realizing all the things that, I experienced through my, 6 combat tours, or experience even through my upbringing through Ranger Regiment. We have 16 Rangers in this book, which I know is Ranger heavy, but at the same time, Ranger Regiment's been continuously deployed since October 2001. At the same
time, why the
There's
fuck
only
not?
one regiment.
Yeah.
Only one.
So, just remembering all the things that I had forgotten and why they were so important to me at the time, and why they should be important to me today, and why I need to share those memories and those experiences with everybody. Ever since I started this book, I've started sharing like stories and leadership and doing new leadership development courses and stuff like that with people in my day job. And it's important, and it's become important to me to share those experiences so that they understand like the reality of that, of why leadership is so important, why to take care of the team, why to take care of, the person who's the lowest on the totem pole, why to be there for everybody day in and day out and show up for work and be ready to go. Like all those things that is missing in a lot of workplaces, that people, again, veterans need to share, and not share it in the, what I'll say, quote, the wrong way, but like the typical veteran way, and share it in a way that makes sense to them. And that's even more so important why they're, you have to bridge that gap. Is so, when a veteran's trying to teach you something, it's not because they look down on you, and it's not because, well, maybe they do a little bit, but it's not because, they're trying to be a hard ass, but it's more so like, that's how we were taught. That's how we communicate. And to just have that understanding of, this is typical for us. We're trying to teach you something. Just, pay attention. Here's a story of why it relates and why it's important.
That was Dan. Wouldn't you agree that when you come, the main obstacle to get to where you're at with Bo and to have this kind of communication, obviously the childhood friendship, take that away and just make it a veteran trying to get his story to a civilian. You're guarded with that when you come home. When you look at civilians, you're like, man, he's not going to get it. Like, I don't want to get that deep. And it's like, how do you make them understand? Well, go to the dark room and tell them every single detail. And then for the rest of the fucking day, you're still there here. Like, you're still like, you feel that. And so it takes a while, but well, I'll take it a step further than, because that's as close as Nick can get to complimenting somebody, because he doesn't hand out candy. But there's been a veteran, I guarantee it. There's been a veteran that went home after an interaction with you and said, that's the first time I've ever had a civilian. And it fucking gets me choked up, but it's the first time I've had a civilian give a shit about my story, about my story, and actually wanted to put some rubber to the road, and put some skin in the game, put some skin in the game, and actually actually take these pictures and tell my story. And that could have changed his entire perception on whether or not his life was worth living.
100%.
Because somebody gave a shit.
Yep, 100%. And before Bo responds, because I know potentially the story he's going to tell, but there are also a few friends of mine who are in this book. There's actually quite a few friends that I served with or didn't serve with, and I met, post-military, and we just had that, common bond of being veterans and things, and I pointed him to. And the one thing I will say about Bo is I don't know how. It's obviously learned from his experiences as a photographer and trying to get into the mind of other people or whatever it is. But every single time they would reach out to me after their interaction with him and say, dude, Bo is a solid guy. Like, normally I wouldn't share this with somebody, but Bo's a really solid guy and I really like him. And I'm surprised he's not a veteran, because he listens and he tries to understand exactly what, we went through.
And I think, like, from my perspective, I mean, my background, no one gives a shit, but the reason I got involved, I think, with supporting veterans is I was underage. I was 17 and I enlisted in the Marine Corps. And because I wasn't 18 yet, my parents found out about it during the, I think 2006, 2007, when there was a big surge going on overseas. And they knew that the MOS I selected, I was going to be stationed or sent to Afghanistan or Iraq really fast. And my family, and being the only son and only child of my family, my parents, didn't want me to go there. So I was very bitter about it for a while because I didn't get to enlist and serve my country. And so that carried on a lot of guilt that I had in my 20s and now into my 30s. So I wanted to find a way to give back to the people that I respect. And Dan, obviously growing up with him and seeing him leave high school and go, fight in a war. But I think that I'm going to give veterans some credit when I say that, yes, you need to let some civilians in, but I also say there's a lot of stupid civilians. So you're not always going to find the ones that you connect with. And I think that I just try and listen, and that's all I can do. And I can never put myself in those shoes. So when I was taking these photos, and to give an example, I mean, there was one gentleman who I met with, who I then, after I got back in my car and I left, it, really hit me. And then his friend called me up and said that if you never would have found him through other veterans, he would have never told his story. Like, he would have never found a way or a platform or anybody to share it with. He hasn't shared it with his family. The things that I heard him tell you in the car, that his friend was there with him, he's only shared that with like his squad mates. And it was kind of like, it's almost like I don't feel like I deserve to hear that. And I don't think I do, but it was just amazing to see a friendship stem from there and for him to maybe have some self-growth from that experience.
I think you absolutely deserve to put the message out, and what you're doing is phenomenal. Stop
when you honor it,
like
when
Nick,
you
like,
honor it the way
Joe,
you
shut
do.
up. Like Nick said earlier, and Joe, everybody, like, stop telling yourself you shouldn't be a part of this, or what you are doing is freaking phenomenal. And if you're having vets reach out to you and they're actually talking about their stories, like, you're good to go, man.
Yeah,
you're doing the right thing, and then spreading awareness is the number one thing. Like we talked about just a few minutes ago, we have people on our page, we shouldn't let the civilians in. No, we do need to let them in. Okay, they do need to be a part of this, because that awareness is key. So keep doing what you're doing and stop doubting yourself.
That mindset needs to go.
Also, I don't know if you guys realize this, but what you just heard was a team leader from like 2007 berate his fucking Joe right in front of you. Like,
do push-ups, Joe.
Get the fuck up, Joe.
Fuck up, Joe. I'm talking.
Joe's used to it. He used to push so hard.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll just pay him back like me and Nick did in New Orleans, and make Dave realize we're 40-year-old married men and we don't get embarrassed, because Dave still has to be cool when he goes out.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I'm always cool, man. That's the story of my life. That's the face of VTT, homie.
But Bo, when you protect it and you honor their story like that, not only is it something you should be doing, that you're valid and worthy of doing, it's something that absolutely is the missing piece to us getting the story out there. Because we are in a fucking epidemic. We are losing guys. And people like what you're doing are making a difference. And is it going to fix everything in one day? Absolutely not. But you're making the fucking dent where you can. And you're honoring these guys' stories. And whether they say they want you to do it or not, I promise you, on the inside, there's a part of them rejoicing that their story mattered.
Yeah.
So it's huge what you're doing, and it's the missing piece to get this thing
Can you
fixed.
guys give like a sneak peek maybe to one of the stories without
Yeah.
Probably hard without giving all of it up, but just kind of something that they obviously all touched you, right?
Yeah, let's
something
give
where
up,
you really you mentioned like crying in the car, after you hear, but like a story that really, really got to you without obviously giving everything up because we want everybody to check out the book. But could you guys give us a little sneak peek?
Yeah, I'll give one and then Dan can give his. I mean, yeah, I cried in the car and I put cucumbers on my eyes after, so it's all good.
Pay attention, buddy. Pay
And then
attention.
drink peanut butter.
Did you drink cordial though?
In the car and you're by yourself.
If your
But no,
drink
so-
didn't get infused with peach, you're okay.
Yeah, I think one of mine, and I'll call him out by name. His name's Joe Sterna. He was a Green Beret, and I remember hearing his story. Again, another veteran that I sat in the back seat with. It was down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, pouring down rain. We were kind of huddled up in a car, and I was recording his story on my phone after I just took his photo. And I mean, this guy has been. I don't want to like ruin his story or tease it too much, but I mean, this guy has been through like getting blown up by an IED, jumping on a hand grenade, and then flipped over in an MRAP and basically drowned to death and still came out on top, still survived to share the stories. And you would think somebody that's been involved in 3 near-death experiences and has seen his buddies killed in action would just be, a lack of a better term, a wreck. But to see him with a smile on his face and remain positive and want to meet up with me and share his story, that was one that definitely stuck with me. And I don't want to single out anybody because there's so many amazing people in this book, like I said, that have so many unique stories in the 20-year war. And what's cool about it is there's photos that I've taken of each veteran, and we've also supplied photos from them overseas. So you'll be able to see like a before and after and read their full story. But that's mine, I would say.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got a lot, but I think the ones that impacted me the most were the stories that I heard from guys that I served with that they didn't tell me their full story. Like it's a new side of them that I hadn't heard before, or learning something new. So to me, when we did the interview with a buddy I served with, Jordan Hillstrom, like I knew it happened. So him and his brother served in different units. Jordan was in 2nd Battalion, 75th Range Regiment with me. And then his brother was serving, I believe, in the 82nd. And he got blown up overseas. Jordan got contacted and pulled out of the country, but I didn't know what that whole process was like for him.
It was insane.
And to hear that story, how many things had to align perfectly to get him back to the United States to meet up with his brother and see him in the hospital, like, was fucking insane to listen to. Like, just everything that had to happen right. Like he immediately got pulled out by one of his squad leaders. Was like, hey, your brother just got blown up, you need to get out of here. They got him on a transport plane to Qatar, or Qatar, however you want to say it. But anyways, got on a transport plane to there. He was sitting on the tarmac. Some person in a
black SUV,
and a black SUV knocks on the side of the plane while it's just sitting there idling on the tarmac. It was like, hey, is Jordan Hillstrom in here? He needs to come with me. Gets thrown on another plane and then goes to Germany, then gets connected on another plane and then sent to DC. And the entire time he's completely oblivious to like how all of those things happened. And he was actually at the hospital before his parents were able to get to the hospital. Like, that shit's insane. And that's the kind of stuff that's crazy to hear about, and you would think would be impossible. And it's really hard to even fathom, but that's what our government is capable of. And that's when people are committed to something to make it a reality and make sure that people are, are getting the support and healthcare or whatever, that they need and the treatment that they need. We excel at, we're excellent at, we figured it out.
Moved mountains with that one. Moved mountains. Yeah.
And I would say even, and before you guys comment, for people listening, like we said earlier, we want to make sure that the veterans that were in this book were kind of a lack of a better term, again, no names. Their story wasn't shared elsewhere. Yes, we have a couple of the bigger people like Tim Kennedy, Nate Boyer, Vince Vargas, but we wanted to keep that like a 4 or 5%. And we wanted to make sure that like 95% of this book were people that you've never heard of from all 4 branches of the U.S. military.
No, yeah, that's awesome. And we had Colonel. And I'll keep the book of real short because everybody, I know a lot of people stick around to hear the wisdom that comes out of his mouth. But we had Colonel Rob come on yesterday. We call him the Mad Colonel. He comes on and he complains about something. And he was talking last week about how the political leaders are the worst. and especially when they're in the DoD. If you're a political leader in the DoD and you have aspirations, like, you can cause a lot of problems. And it got me to thinking, because what we were talking about today, with the pullout, like, and out of Afghanistan, and JC and I talked on the phone about this a little bit. And again, if you went somewhere, and I know from my own stories that I saw the good that we did, right? I saw a lot of the hell of war, as we all have. But when JC brought up the women in Afghanistan, the 2 generations that are, they're probably going to get slaughtered, if we don't hold that up, because guess what? They don't let them read, right? And then you literally get stoned for reading a book if you're a woman, all right? And to even just give that opportunity to another human being, whether it's 1, 5,000 of them, right? To give them that opportunity to have a chance at freedom. Now, we can't control, like JC, like these guys all talked about already, we can't control what happens in politics. We can't control any of that. So why stress out about it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like, again, and JC brought up doing the right thing in combat. And because veterans are minorities, we just get hey, this is where we fucked up in combat. This is where we killed a civilian that we shouldn't have. And now we're all murderers, as opposed to, there's a lot of guts and bad stuff we can talk about, but there's the uplifting thing again, where, again, as a veteran, if you're thinking about Afghanistan, you're thinking about Iraq, right? There's a family somewhere in some city that you secured, right? And you might have killed 7 or 8 Al-Qaeda guys that were setting off bombs, all right, around this area. And you just gave them a chance, right? Now, whatever happens, that's out of your control. All right. So again, just don't become a triggered pansy. It is 100% okay to get triggered by the withdrawal. That's human nature, right? And especially when you put blood, sweat, and tears into stuff. But don't be a pansy about it. Right? Like, think about it. Call your brothers that might be struggling with it. Call them. Right? Call them and talk about some of the stuff that we did that helped people. And I'll tell one story in Iraq. We were cordoning off an IED, and we went into a house. I think it was Bucket and I. We went into a house, and there was a girl in there. I think she's like 17 or 18. And the mom, the daughter could speak pretty good English. She's like, hey, my mom wants to thank you because I get to go to college now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm going to do my best, and earn this. And I'm sitting there like, wow, like,
how cool.
Nick, I still remember that girl, man. We were, it was a cordon and knock.
Yep.
And she spoke, she was the only girl. I still tell stories about that. She spoke perfect English, and we were like, what are you doing here? She's like, my parents live here, but she was able to go to college. I think she was in Baghdad.
Yep. And then,
right.
And her goal was to get her family out of there. And it's like, we had a part in that. So that's just a quick book of Earl. Is like, hey, you get triggered about, the withdrawal, but you have no control over that. All right. That has nothing to do. And like Buddy said, we went to war to fight with our buddies. And then, when you start getting embedded in the culture, it's like, and that's where you got to hit the people, the civilians, where you tell them, it's like, you have no fucking idea how bad they're treated. You have no idea what those families are thankful for. You have no idea, like, just the simple pleasure in life, just one thing, right? And we as an American force can provide that for people. And that's what I'm most proud of. I don't care about, Dave seeing the pink mist, or, I put a 240 on a wall and pulled the trigger blind, and the tracers went in all the bad guys. Like, there was no fucking skill in that whatsoever. Right. I pulled the trigger and it worked. Right. So it's like that's all cool, but no, helping people. All right. Help people around you, build them up. And that's the book of Earl. So we'll still, I don't know if you guys can still talk for a little bit. I know you got to be the big timers on CNN, but
what's the future for you two? Like, after this big project, I don't know if you guys even want to talk about that or can, but Are there other projects that you guys have in mind, or some other avenues that you're going to touch? Maybe a part 2? Like, what are you guys looking at doing?
So there are a lot of things in the works that we're excited to announce very soon. We cannot announce exactly what the future is yet, but what I will say is on September 11th of this year, we will be launching our book at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum, and we have some more exciting news to share during that event at the museum. It's open to the public, so anybody who wants to attend, the museum's going to be opening tickets up to the public this coming week. And so, anybody can attend. It's in Columbus, Ohio. If you haven't been to the museum, I don't know if any of you gentlemen have, but it's a beautiful place.
So,
every veteran should go visit it. I think every single veteran should go visit it because it's storytelling from the beginning to end. It's your story of, your call to action, why you joined throughout service, your relationship with family while you're serving overseas, what deployments are like, things like that. And then it even covers a little bit of the transition and what it means to get out of the military and then contribute back to your community. So it's a beautiful place, but we're excited to be there. But yeah, we have a lot of things on the table. So more books are on the table. Some future things that, again, we will share soon about, but we can't announce yet.
Absolutely, man.
JC's laughing because he's gonna.
He knows what it is.
He's an insider. He's an insider. Yeah.
JC's laughing also because JC will be attending, I believe. Correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jen and I already got our tickets in our hotel, and
nice.
we're really excited to be there. And though I will tell you, Jen keeps bugging me like, okay, what do I need to wear? What do I need to wear? What's going to happen? So I got to get more info on the event. But
let me write that down because I actually have an email that's about to go out and I need to put on there.
Did you tell her you're wearing Ranger panties and a tank top? No. Okay.
The dad bod will be on Front Street.
Shorts. Okay, we don't wear long shorts here. So.
Yeah, and again, like people that
I just ordered a bunch of Ranger panties, and she's like, "Wow, those are really short."
Yeah, and I think, like Dan said, for people listening that are interested in going, it is a public event. Obviously, next week we'll announce more details of where people can buy tickets. So, yeah, we're just excited that we get to share and commemorate and honor the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, and to use that space to launch our book. We'll be doing like book signing. There'll be cocktail hour. We'll have like a panel discussion. There'll be a lot of people, I would say, in the veteran space. I think some generals and stuff like that will be there. So it'll just be a fun night.
Throw out some plugs real quick too. I mean,
yeah,
websites, stuff like that. We're gonna plug the crap out of it, and then as we get closer, you guys just need to let Nick and myself know, and we're gonna blow it on the page.
On the website.
Yep, as you can see, we have two different types of the book behind us. We have a standard edition here, which is just a book by itself, and then we have a limited edition over here, which has a slipcase on it. But then also it'll come with a challenge coin and a 20-year war leather patch. I push everybody, please go to our website to order the book, 20yearwar.com.
Not Amazon.
Don't go anywhere else to order the book. Any book orders that go through our website, we're giving a portion of proceeds to several different veteran organizations that we feel very passionate about, that actually do, make a difference in the veteran community, not one of the other 50-something thousand that really are meaningless, but these ones actually contribute to, positive benefits for veterans and how they can, impact their lives going forward. So please go to our website, 20yearwar.com.
Is it 20 the number or 20 spelled out?
20 spelled out.
Yeah, 20.
Honestly, I bought every
You just
URL.
lost all the Marines.
Well, I bought every URL, so if the Marines spell it wrong, it'll get them there.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then another thing we did not talk about, but our storytelling does not stop with the book. We thought it was important that we didn't just share the stories in a short format on a few pages, but we also have a podcast called Never Left Behind. A lot of the veterans that are in the book, we shared long format of their stories. JC was on it and blessed us with his presence on there. They're long format, so again, you hear the full story, why they joined, during service, transition, and what they're doing now. So it's the full gamut.
Hey, that book's not just a few pages. That's an expensive book.
Yeah. Well, a few pages per veteran.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it's really cool to see it finally done. Like we just opened up books last night.
Yep.
Actually. So it's kind of cool that we just put those up. We got to see it firsthand for ourselves, to see all the hard work and the photos and everything that we took going into it. There's 71 veterans and their stories and a couple other things inside there. So we're just excited for those who want to attend the event. But if they just want to go and, check out the website or send it to veterans that they know or family members, like Dan said, 20yearwar.com.
Man, thank you, Dan and Bo, for the effort. And we always preach about putting skin in the game, man. And it sounds like you guys knocked it out of the freaking park. So I cannot wait to get it. And it's got pictures in it, so it's right up my alley.
Oh yeah, you don't got to read too much.
Hey, can I make a recommendation to listeners who can do this? This is something that I think is really important because I think we've got to spread this message. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm going to buy a few and I'm going to give them not only to the VA, to different VA places across the country, because I think the veterans that go to the VA need to see that veterans are being recognized from this war and they're not forgotten. But I'm also going to find some civilian organizations where they have a civilian group that just comes in and put it in their office and put it in their office space, because we need to get the word out there. So if you're able to buy 2 books, one for you and then one to give to somebody who you think
it's a great idea,
right?
Yeah, give it to a civilian.
Let's get this book out there. It should, every office you go into, it should be on the coffee table, in their waiting room, so that people can see that, hey, this mattered. This 20-year war mattered. These people mattered. And I think that's really that'll make a step forward.
Hey, we got a question from Gruntworks, and then I hope you guys will keep talking. I have to run. I got to go to a separate fundraiser. But it says, is it going to be available as an ebook as well, or just hard copy?
So right now it's just a hard copy. We do have plans, probably in the future to convert it to an ebook. But right now, it's meant to be a coffee table photo book. It's really, we did large format on purpose so that you can't miss it when it's sitting on a table. You know what it is. You know exactly what it's about. That's why we kept the title, The 20-Year War. But
the ebook could be cool, but it just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. Bo, don't you feel like you lose some of your personal touch on an ebook?
I gotta play little favorites to having a physical, something tangible, because
I gotta agree with you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is a museum quality book that I guarantee. And ego aside, this is probably one of the biggest books you'll have in your home, because it's just such a big format. I just think you're doing yourself service by opening it up and feeling the pages and seeing everything that went into it. So right now, like Dan said, it is just for print, a hardcover.
Yeah. Hey guys, I got to run. I love all of y'all. Hey, whatever we can do to help you. All right. Just hit me up or hit Dave up and we'll do whatever we can. So
awesome. Thanks, Nick.
100%. And Dad Bod, JC, we'll talk later, but I'll see you guys later.
All right, buddy.
All right, Nick. Yeah, I mean, we can wrap it up here pretty soon. I know you guys have to get on CNN. Let me put it out there again. But I'm just kidding. Hey, whatever it takes to spread the word on what you guys are doing, use any platform. Who cares what it is,
I think we're even more interested in, doing the things like this with you guys, because it's kind of like when you realize the power of a small community of people that can help push things, I think it's even bigger than national, big outlets like that. I think we're getting to a point where we're meeting guys like you that probably understand more on Dan and Tom's side, that want to help push this. So, we
will push the crap out of it.
The caveat off of what JC said, putting this book, not like Ryan Hendrickson wrote Tip of the Spear, beautiful. Dan Felding, The Asset Mindset, great book. JC's book's phenomenal. Like it.
Yep.
The difference with this book and putting it into a civilian world, like JC was just saying, is in 3 pages, you can get up close, intimate, and personal with that one veteran.
Yep.
And the way you did the story, that veteran might stick in your head for years, just from that 10 minutes at the doctor's office. You know what I'm saying? Like that's freaking badass.
Front more. I don't know if you guys can see it more.
Damn.
It's big.
It's huge.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What's my Dan?
And we're talking, we're talking history here, 20, 30 years down the road.
I'll do a quick flip,
Wow.
But,
I love it.
Of course, you flip on Nate's self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
They're big portraits.
Yeah.
Like we sit here and talk about help, but I'm going to ask a question that we all want to know. What's our discount code again?
Oh, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nice. I can't wait. Honestly, I just moved into a house up here in Michigan. I'm still coming out of boxes.
Oh, me
and
too.
literally the coffee table is the next. We just got a big L-shaped couch. So that seats like 10. So the coffee table is next. And that book's going there.
Joe, you're right with me. I just moved
that
into a
book's
new
going
place, and I'm missing a coffee table myself. Now I gotta get one to put the book on.
I do want to say something because before this all wraps up, and Bo, I've heard a lot of humility from you, and certainly I value and honor humility. But I'm gonna brag on Bo a little bit.
You're stealing all the words that I was going to say later, but
yeah, I was going to say,
so we can go back and forth. We can go back and forth.
Speak on it. Yep.
But let me tell you something. You know, I don't really value people based on their service or not. I value people on their spirit. You know, do they have the warrior spirit? Do they have the heart of the warrior, in search of the warrior spirit? Yeah. And Bo has that. Bo has that in spades. And he shows that with his humility. He shows that with his empathy. He shows that with his loyalty. He shows that with his curiosity. And he shows that by his skill, right? He brings something to the table that is absolutely phenomenal. The guy is an expert and at exactly what he does. And he has the absolute soul of a warrior. He not only belongs on this veteran podcast, he belongs on every veteran podcast. Yeah. He's one of us, because what makes it special is not the fact that we went overseas and did those things that others wouldn't do. It's what's inside of us that makes us special. What's inside of us? Yeah, it's inside of him. He just is serving in a different way. He was ready to do what we did, but there was another path for him. Sure. And he's the man, and he doesn't have to respond to this. You're the man, Bo.
100%.
I don't know what to say. Yeah.
Hey, you know, that reminds me of our boy, Dave, Sam Medina. All right. We love Sam. Sam's become a good friend. I talk to him regularly. If you don't know who he is, he's an actor. Okay. He found a story that needed to be told. And like Bo, he used what he was great at. He used what he had the ability. Okay, how can I make this thing pop? How can I get it attention? I'm good at this. So let's marry what I'm good at with what they went through, and let's do something about it. And Sam did the same thing. And he always said, I didn't serve. It's like, well, maybe not before, but you're serving now. Mm-hmm. You're serving now, because the same end game, which is to lower this fucking number that I don't even want to say the number of guys, of brothers and sisters we lose a day, to actually make a dent in that. You gotta get people's attention, and you've got to open the eyes of the people who don't know the story. Well, so the mentality that we were talking about, Dan, about veterans feel weird about talking to civilians. We've got to break that fucking that stereotype. We have to, because we need people like Bo. We don't have enough of them. And if we had people like Bo and Kevin Travers and Sam Medina, had 1,000 of them apiece, there would be no suicide. But that's why we have to educate people, like JC said. So I love it, man.
And for those of you that didn't, Sam Medina, 22, The Unforgotten Soldier. It's a movie that's coming out next year.
And we had a brief scene
Nick,
in it.
Myself had the honor to be in it. So it's going to be, it's going to be a phenomenal movie. It talks about Daniel Gonzalez, a Marine that comes back from Afghanistan, all messed up, and Sam pretty much plays his story.
He broke his back, and they threw pills in a wheelchair at him and said he'd never walk again. And because he's a fucking Marine, now he trains at Jackson Wink MMA, one of the most famous camps in the world. He works there. He lives in ABQ. But getting off his ass in boxing is what saved his life.
Yeah.
Getting up out of that chair and realizing the top half of me still works. Let's work with what works. And because he just so happened to be at a place like Jackson Wink where, they train athletes, he was able to find somebody that would sit there and hold pads for him and work with him. And he's made tremendous strides. And man, we all know somebody, or we've been there, where there was a bottle of booze in the room, a pistol in the room, and somebody that was really unsure about whether they were going to wake up tomorrow. We've talked to people like that. I'm not going to put names out there and betray anyone's trust, but it's finding that boxing or finding that outlet to write or being able to tell someone like Bo their story that can break through that and have them looking at it, Dan, a different way than they did before. Yep. And if you realize the veteran in you does not have to die, it doesn't have to go anywhere. You know, and we were doing a shitty job of keeping in touch with each other. I probably talked to Dave once every 6 months. I probably talked to Nick once every 2 or 3 months. You know, now I talk to 5, 6, 7 veterans a day, every day. And I wouldn't trade this hustle that we've been on to make this thing work while working a day job, and 3, because I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's been so fucking rewarding and fulfilling that we'll do this till we can't do it anymore.
Well,
go ahead, Dan.
You know, to Dave's point and everything you just said earlier, when he said, really, right now, after combat veterans come back, then they have their second war.
Yep.
Is like, that was their choice to go to that first war. Every civilian can decide to be involved in the second war.
100%.
And can decide to be there to be in support of a veteran. And it's exactly like what you guys are talking about. It's finding the skills that you can have or you do have as a civilian, and just whether it's teaching a new skill, whether it's, you know, bringing a veteran into the workplace and giving them a job, or, you know, whatever the case may be, like, you can find something in a way to give back to a veteran. And it doesn't have to be like some massive donation to some nonprofit. It doesn't have to be anything. It could just be sitting down and having a cup of coffee and just like sharing stories. It could be funny ass stories that have happened throughout your life. Like, it doesn't have to be combat stories.
Yep. Yeah. And I think personally for me, this doesn't tease anything we're working on in the future, but I've been telling Dan about this idea since we started this book. There's not much I can give past this book, but if there's anybody listening that are veterans that maybe they have a hobby of photography, I would love to connect with as many people as I can to help maybe start like a group of going out in the field and taking photos and learning the basics of being a photographer or the business side of it. Again, that's a very small demographic of people, but if there's anything that maybe I can give further than the book, I would love to continue to share that.
Yeah, let's definitely connect on Facebook after this. We got one guy, we had him on Boats Oshana, PTSD, the Invisible Scar. He's been working on a project for the longest time out here in Arizona.
Okay.
And he's a photographer as well. Let's connect after this on Facebook and everything, and then like share each other's friends and everything. That's what it's all about. It's all about networking, you know. And he'd probably be really interested in what you're doing and your pictures, and you might be interested in what he does. But hey guys, I'm going to give you guys the final word, and then I'm going to close this thing out. Yeah, just phenomenal.
Thanks for being here, boys, man. I can't wait to see the book.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And yeah, just final word, just to tell everybody again, 20yearwar.com. You can buy the book on there. Please go on there and purchase the book. Don't go anywhere else, because that is where we will donate a portion of proceeds to multiple veteran nonprofits that we have good relationships with, that we know make a difference in these veterans' lives.
100%. Hey, Dan and Bo, phenomenal stuff. Absolutely, Bo. Like we said earlier, man. Stop doubting yourself or feel like you're not at that level that we are, because that's a bunch of bullshit. You're probably even higher. You're probably even higher level just because of what you're doing. You know, because of your heart, the person you are, and just putting skin in the game, like we always say. So fucking phenomenal shit. We're gonna be following y'all's journey. Okay. Anytime you want us to plug anything on VTT, just shoot us a text message or message us on Facebook. We'll be putting it all out there and blasting it to the world, because this is a message that the world needs to hear. Thanks again for coming on, JC, as well.
Thanks for knocking it out of the park again, JC.
Yep. Always.
You guys, Bo and Dan, you guys fucking motivated me, man. Seriously, made my day to hear this. I can't wait to see the book. Thank you so much.
And thanks for having us.
And then JC, for everybody that's watching, make sure you go check out veterantrashtalk.com. Okay, that's where you get all the info on VTT, our podcasts, our merch. Okay, you know, part of our proceeds go to Stop Soldier Suicide, who we're connected with as well. Check us out, support us. Everybody have a great Saturday.
Support this book, 20yearwar.com.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Phenomenal stuff. Chris,